Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday, October the 20th, and welcome to our video commentary. If you were listening to our podcast with Bill Katz, the editor of Urgent Agenda, we do a podcast every week with Bill. It's called The Week in Review. I have it there in the archives if you just simply stroll down my blog or my Facebook page. You will hear the conversation that we had about what's going on in New York City with a Thomas Jefferson statue. This particular statue of Thomas Jefferson has been in the City Hall building in New York City for 200 years and has always been there, regardless of who is the mayor, Democrat or Republican, regardless of who's the president, Democrat or Republican. But the statue now is going to be moved because apparently some people are insulted by the sight of Thomas Jefferson. I never thought I would see that in the United States, but it is happening. We want to take down a statue of Thomas Jefferson because Thomas Jefferson had slaves 200 years ago or whenever it was that he did. Now, it is true, it is a historical fact that Monticello, where Thomas Jefferson lived in Virginia, that he had slaves. There's no doubt about that. That was also the case, by the way, of most ranchers at that time, not only in North America, but around the world. I mean, slavery was not something that was invented by Thomas Jefferson. It was not invented in North America. It's something that existed. I'm not defending it, but it was a part of the history. But to simply look at Thomas Jefferson from that angle is to overlook the much bigger story of Thomas Jefferson as the man who wrote the Declaration of Independence, as the third president of the United States, and one of the most important men in the history of the world. And to simply say we're just going to overlook all of that because he had slaves is ignorance. But I think on top of that is also, I just don't think that these people love the country. I just don't have any other way of saying it. How can you possibly love the United States and want to get rid of Thomas Jefferson? You know, as a little boy growing up in Cuba, we had an uncle in our family, my father's uncle, who was a law school professor. He was a judge, and he was a huge fan of American history. And as a little boy, I remember him telling us stories about President Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence and all of that. And that's the Jefferson that I grew up with, a Jefferson who represented the principles of that Declaration of Independence. And I have no idea how somebody would want to remove Thomas Jefferson from a statue or a city hall or whatever. But I guess they want to. And you really have to ask yourself the question, what is behind all of this? And what is next? What is next? Are we going after George Washington next? Are we going after James Monroe? Are we going after James Madison? Are they next? Because they also had slaves. They were ranchers in the South also. So I think at some point in time, what we need here is a Democrat. There has to be somebody in the Democrat Party who stands up and says, enough is enough. We got to stop this. Enough is enough. And if the Democrats don't do that, then I'm going to refer to you to an interview that I heard a few weeks ago with Joe Lieberman, former senator and former candidate for vice president. Joe Lieberman said that this crazy left was not only going to destroy the country, but it was for sure going to destroy the Democrat Party. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This crazy left and their woke zeal is going to destroy the Democrat Party. I don't think they'll ever destroy the country because I don't ever think they'll get that far. But they're definitely going to destroy the Democrat Party. And bringing down statues of Thomas Jefferson in New York City and having a mayor of New York City, Democrat de Blasio, do nothing about it, having a Democrat governor in New York do nothing about it, really makes you wonder about what the state of the Democrat Party is today. It's crazy, that's all I can tell you. The Democrat Party has gone off the rails. That's all you can say about it. Thank you for watching, and if today is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.